What's going on, world? How are you? This is Argustic Dunbar, the hybrid entrepreneur, coming to you today. I'm here with my guy, Quinton Taylor, really good friend of mine, good mentor of mine. He already knows the deal. I want to bring you guys successful entrepreneurs who built businesses, whether it's on a full-time basis, part-time basis, and we're flourishing right now. And Quinton was a guy, when I first met him, I was like, man, I'm just impressed with how he carries himself. I'm impressed at how he communicates. I'm impressed at how he leads and how he takes someone from like being green in sales or entrepreneurship and really builds them up to a point where they're able to run their own company and pretty much duplicate everything he's done. So Q, thanks for coming out and doing this and everything. So as you know, the target audience is, a young couple, 25, 35, they want to start their own business, they want to run their own business, they have no experience, no background, a lot of fears, a lot of insecurities. That's what we're talking to. So let's talk about your upbringing, right? Because I remember when we first sat down and talked, you were like a very, very rough past, very rough upbringing, and you kind of just turned it all around. And so can you just start by sharing a little bit about yourself, like your upbringing and everything?
Of course. Originally from Columbus, Mississippi. Was in Columbus, Mississippi for...
Mississippi? I didn't know about that part. All right, then you've been all over.
Yeah, for about 13 years. The best thing my mom ever did was moving us from Columbus, Mississippi to Topeka, Kansas, back in 1998. Poverty is what comes to mind,
Was it just like that in Mississippi too, or?
No, Mississippi is just, I always say it's 10 years behind. No
Makes
jobs,
sense.
no opportunity, school system's broken. You look, it's rated 50 out of the 50 states from the school system standpoint.
Really?
Yeah, okay. Man, it's a place where it's very controlled, by a certain group. Up until I was 13, I moved to Kansas. I went to all black schools growing up. It was very segregated still.
Okay.
Still to this day, still not accepted. Interracial dating still not accepted. But when we moved to Kansas, it was awesome because it was very open-minded. The first day I was there, my uncle was married to a white lady. Didn't know. We knew nothing about this side of the family.
Boom, here you go.
And I just remember my eyes being huge because where I was from originally wasn't accepted. But long story short, Kansas is it's a melting pot. A little bit of everything. Mixture of some entrepreneurs, lots of factories, like Goodyear, Mars, which makes a lot of the candy bars, lots of factory jobs. And, I just always knew one day I would run a business. Didn't know how, didn't know what. I just knew at a young age, my mindset that I would bet on me. If the ship is gonna sink, I wanna be the reason. I don't wanna be on someone else's ship and it sinks and I'm a casualty by default, by association. So that's always been my mindset.
So I didn't want to cut you off. So I skipped. So I always knew you're going to be your own boss, run your own business, right? Let's talk about some of like your current successes, if you feel comfortable doing that. Like what you're currently doing, and I guess what I'm saying is why the listeners should even listen to you.
Currently, I'm considered an independent corporate distributor.
Okay.
Work for a huge third-party company that's the biggest third party in the world. Have some awesome contracts with brands like AT&T, Samsung, NRG, Just Energy. We're getting ready to dive into mobility. We already started. June 24th, we're going to be launching T-Mobile, Sprint, and Verizon to go with, AT&T. But those are our clients. My platform is retail. We don't do any of the door-to-door, the business-to-business. So Costco, biggest retailer in the world. And we're that company that bridges the gap between the consumers and those brands. It's a management training program. It's something where someone with no experience can come in, and through the structure of our company, we show them how to not only be cross-trained, but most importantly, I try to duplicate myself within them. That's when you stop trading time for money.
Yes.
It's when you don't have to be there to do the job and things of that nature.
So that's more of like your company and everything. I'm talking like let's assume the camera's like we're boys.
Yeah.
You're a humble guy, but you know how to talk, you know how to brag and talk some shit too. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. What are some numbers?
Some numbers?
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys, man. If I make anything less than 250 grand a year, I fail. That's my number. That's the sweet spot. Prior to this, I was in the nightclub industry.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Had my hands in a couple nightclubs back home in the Kansas City, Lawrence, Kansas area. It was very successful. But at the same time, there was a combination of things that caused me to, walk away from that industry. As I grew older, I've been through some traumatic things, lost a couple brothers, couple close friends. As I got older, I went from being the quote unquote class clown, most outgoing guy who's never met a stranger. I learned to turn it off and turn it on. So I became really private due to some traumatic things, and I hated being accessible. And being in the nightclub industry, I was too accessible.
Yeah.
People knew where I was every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And it's unfortunate that, once you started to achieve a little success, you're targeted. And I didn't like that.
So you went from being like an entrepreneur back in Kansas City, to doing interviews as far as like employment, W-2 work. Okay.
But back in Kansas City, the nightclub thing was definitely a success. I didn't get that fulfillment. I started to grow and mature as a man, and I got tired of watching people go home drunk, too accessible, like I was telling you earlier. So when I moved here, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I put my resume out. I scheduled 15 interviews, 3 a day over 5 days. I decided to go with this one because this was the one that felt less like a job. It was a management training program. It was 4 phases. They gave me something tangible. Everything was there to show me how to get from one phase to the next. Everything seemed very logical, seemed very attainable. So I was fortunate because most people, they don't have the barrier of entry to open a business. And once they get the barrier of entry, they don't know how to keep that business thriving. They don't have a business model. They don't have something in place to duplicate themselves. That's why a lot of times you walk into a mom and pop store, whether it be a restaurant, a boutique, it's very successful, but it's only one of them. They haven't quite figured out how to duplicate.
Systematize it.
They don't have a system in place. Well, this company, it had everything in place. The system, the blueprint, and at the time I came into the business, it was 200 offices actually. So they had figured out within the last 4 or 5 years how to open up 200, mom and pop stores, as we say. Today we're at 450 offices. So
over how many years is that?
In the last 9 years.
Okay.
450 offices. You do the math, that's 50 to 60 offices a year.
Well, so you've been with the company 9 years now?
I've actually been with the company since 2014.
Okay, gotcha.
And from 2014 to now, we went from 200 offices to around 450.
Okay.
Me, myself, I have a total of 5 offices.
Gotcha.
Which I earn a residual income off the other 4.
Absolutely.
So,
wait, say that again. You earn a residual income.
A residual income.
That means that's the income that you're not longer, you're not there necessarily working for. It's income that's coming in.
Another stream of income.
I love it. So it's important, and I like to stop and give tips. It's important that as an entrepreneur that we try to create residual income, as well as working income. Okay.
Absolutely. They pay me residual for the responsibility. The people with the most responsibility get paid the most. So what I'm getting to, bringing it back, people say they don't have the barrier of entry. They don't have the structure to keep that business thriving. Well, that's what we do. Not only do I show that individual that comes into my program, not only how to do our business, but I give them the blueprints of how I'm going to grow them through and duplicate myself within them. Over a short period, by the way, of 6 to 12 months. And through that program of starting from an entry-level position to grow into management, they learn how to run a business. By the time they get through, we've launched their website, their social media presence. They're on every job board in whichever market they're at. I've shown them how to professionally conduct interviews, how to take someone from the first interview through 3 interviews to the hiring process, to classroom, to the actual field. So it's a one-stop shop, and that's what I really enjoy. Not to say that I'm not creative enough or lazy, but entrepreneurship, honestly, is copy and paste. I found out what the most successful people are doing. I use my work ethic and my personality to get a different outcome.
I like that. So could you say it one more time for us?
So to be honest with you, get into the psychologist, the mentality behind entrepreneurship.
Yes.
It's a copy and paste business. Rarely will you see someone start something or do something that's never been done. You'll see them take that same industry and take it to another level. So in entrepreneurship, all you do is figure out which industry, which lane you want to drive your vehicle in. You copy and paste. You talk to the most successful people who's thriving in that industry, find out what they're doing that's working, and you copy and paste. Because I feel like my leadership, my personality, my work ethic, and I just go the extra mile for my team. So by default, I'm just going to outdo you. But sometimes you don't have the blueprint. You're not doing something that's allowing you to be successful. So once again, you find out that the most successful people are doing is copy and paste.
Okay, that makes sense. So if you don't mind, I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and get into mindset, because you sit down with a lot of people. I'm talking about with hiring, and then you end up hiring a lot of people, right? Yeah. What are some mindsets that people come in with that ultimately lead to them being unsuccessful, and then what like how do you coach them and turn it around? Like maybe top 2.
Okay. I teach something that's called a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset, that individual comes in and they feel like potential is predetermined. It's always someone else's fault. They don't actually look in the mirror and figure out what they were doing wrong. And I'm very conscious of that. So in an interview, it's a 7 to 10 minute interview, 15 if I really like them. I'm always checking for accountability. I look at a resume. I'm really not interested, honestly, in what they've done in the past. It's an entry-level position. We're going to teach you everything. It's not that hard. So I'm not looking for relative experience. I'm looking for consistency, and I'm looking to see, how often did they jump around? And I'm going to ask why did you leave this company after 8 months, and then you moved to the next one? You left that one after 12. There's 2 reasons. One, their attention span is minimal, and they end up getting fired. Or 2, they're very hardworking, they're very creative, and they get to the point where they grow into a position where they know right off the bat, I can't go any higher than this. So they go try to find something different. And I ask a series of questions in a certain way to get the truth. So I'm looking for someone that, 1, takes accountability and says, hey, Quinton, I was there, I left on good terms. I just realized that, I had made it to management, and I was going to be here the next 5 or 10 years, and I would rather go do something that's going to allow me to grow further. Or 2, I left because the management was this, or the management. That's the person that has a fixed mindset. You know what I mean? So that's the main thing that stops me from actually wanting to do business with someone, because I know I'm the player's coach. I put people in situations to win, and we have little to no supervision. And I don't want people robbing me of my time. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yes, I like that. So 1 is growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And I think I actually read the book with, I forget her name, something Duckworth, something like that. And then what would you say is like number 2? Number 2 mindset people come in with that ultimately leads to them being unsuccessful.
Honestly, someone that's looking for what I like to call a handout. And I would like to pair something with that, and someone that has poor time management. I absolutely cannot. I cannot do business with someone that has poor time management. Simply because in order to stop trading your time for money, that time that you do have, you have to maximize it. Little stuff like just being punctual, always making excuses. 1 time, okay. 2 times, shame on me. 3 times, it's a bad habit. And why wait to get to that 3 times? Why not break up with that person from day 1? Meaning, I interview him. I noticed a couple things that would cause us not to be as successful as a team. I break up with him right away.
Okay. So it sounds like you come from a young age. You've had a lot of success, right? Because you were running the nightclubs at what age?
21.
21. Okay. So it just seems like your success was almost predetermined. Like you have a good work ethic, and you're almost like superhuman almost. Or do you believe that it was you grew, you learned, you had mentors? Or I guess what I'm trying to get at is, do you believe that anybody can be an entrepreneur, or is it just something that's reserved for a certain group of people?
I won't say anybody.
Okay.
I will say a large percentage of the population.
Can or cannot?
Can.
Okay.
It's either you have it or you don't. Because simply you can network and get with people that are successful and find out what's working. And you got to look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you willing to work that hard? That's the main thing.
So let's put it this way. Let's say that someone's willing to work hard. They're willing to grow. They have a growth mindset, and no one from their family has ever done anything crazy or big. If you look at their rap sheet, their history, even themselves, right up to a certain age, they've done nothing. They just have a dream and good work ethic. Do you believe anyone like that can become an entrepreneur?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
Simply because hard work beats talent every time. Someone that's super talented, a lot of times they depend on that talent too much. See, that hard work eventually is going to catch it. It may take 6 months, it may take 6 years. But the person that works hard over the person that has the talent, they will always outdo them. Because you can't, of course, you can't teach talent, but you know, someone that works hard, I will absolutely bet on that person 7 out of 7 times. The biggest thing, though, Argustic, is with our business, for example, the structure was there. I didn't have to come in and rewrite anything. I didn't have to change anything. It was a situation where I just used my personality in that industry. That's the most important thing. Because a lot of times, someone wants to rewrite history. They want to do something that's never been done. Of course, that is difficult. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to sit down with a successful guy and say, you know, what is it you're doing? How are you doing it? Take you a step further in our business, we give you something tangible that you could just follow this blueprint and you could be successful as well. But what you realize, Argustic, is that the average person, they find out they don't want it as bad as they say they want it. Simply because they just don't want to work hard. They don't have the focus. They don't have the determination to sometimes get tunnel vision, if that makes sense. You know, the millennial, quote unquote, the attention span is minimal. So they're here for 2 or 3 months, and they're here for 2 or 3 months, and they're here for 2 or 3 months, or they're doing 3 or 4 different things. And how can you get 100% out of something when you're not giving 100%? If you're giving 50, you're gonna get 50. If you're less talented, you're gonna be giving 50, you'll be getting 25. So what you gotta understand is, it's an oxymoron. You have to find something you're passionate about that gives you that sense of fulfillment and give it 100%. Hopefully it's something that you can duplicate yourself in. That way you can open up multiple shops, restaurants, or whatever the case it is. Hopefully the degree of difficulty isn't too high, because you grow quicker.
Yes, I like it. So I know we've been speaking for a little bit. I know you got some things to do. I wanted to know 2 things. One, I want you to look in the camera, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and we have, like I said, a lot of hopeful entrepreneurs. Maybe we have some entrepreneurs who are just getting started. We have what I like to call hybrid entrepreneurs. I've got a 9 to 5. I want to create some more income, and I don't want to go get a part-time job. I want to build a business. I want to be my own boss. What 2 or 3 tips can you look in the camera and give them?
The first one I would say, network. Your network is your net worth. In order to find out how to be successful and how to be successful in a certain industry, you have to first find the people that are successful in that industry. So you got to be what we call a go-getter. You can't be afraid to shake a guy's hand, put your pride to the side, and ask him, you know, it seems to me you're very successful. Can you teach me? Can you show me? So the first step is to network, which, you know, for confident individuals that's had some success in prior situations, you got to put your pride to the side. Secondly, you have to have that work ethic that we talked about. You can't put in 50% and expecting to get 100% back. So you have to be willing to sacrifice weekends, weekdays, whatever it takes. You got to have that no excuse type of, you know, attitude, and that's very, very important. Secondly, third, I always want to be in an industry where I can duplicate myself. I say that a lot, but you got to be able to delegate. You know, you don't want to become a slave to your opportunity. I mean, if I'm not there, I'm not making money. I don't want it to be so difficult, you know, because I have a master's degree. If you don't have a master's, you can't do this. I want it to be something, I'm not saying that's super easy, but, you know, something I can take, you know, 3 to 6 months and I can teach someone else how to do it. Now I have 2 brick and mortars. Now I have 3 brick and mortars. So that's the key. Network, work ethic, and make sure it's an industry where you can duplicate yourself.
Absolutely. I enjoyed our time together, man. Where can the people reach you at?
You know, I have a website, metroplexmanagement.com. You can reach me at Metroplex Management on IG and Twitter as well.
Okay, awesome. Straight to the point. You know, this is completely off the topic. I remember just getting text messages from you, and I'm like, I don't know if this other dude's rude or he's just to the point. Like your answer, a lot of times people are like, well, you know, I'm everywhere. Your answer is just to the point, 2 words.
No waste of time.
I like it.
Back to time management. Being honest with you, it goes back to time management. You want to be when it has something to do with your business and you being successful.
Yes.
You want to be very direct. You want to just make it simple.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something I definitely strive to do, is just be consistent in my approach. And you got to understand, in Dallas, there's a lot of competition.
Absolutely.
So sometimes the first person that responds is the first person that gets that interview with that candidate.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all it takes. To be honest.
Absolutely. Well, Q, I appreciate you coming out, man. You guys heard him. You can reach him at where he said at. This is Argustic Dunbar coming at you guys, the hybrid entrepreneur. Till next time, sign it out.